What is a mildly disturbing fact? There are over 200 corpses on Mount Everest, and they are used as waypoints for climbers. Rabbits will eat their own young if they are stressed enough. The youngest person to be diagnosed with early onset dementia was just 6 years old. Have you ever thought about how whales and dolphins die? When they get too old and weak to swim to the surface to breathe, they start sinking into the cold, dark depths of the ocean and suffocate. In France, a pig was dressed in human clothes, tried in court, and was sentenced to death for eating a child's face. In fairness, that's pretty illegal. Salt appetite can be so strong that animals, including humans short on sodium, will put life and limb at risk to satisfy the hunger. Mountain goats are known to cling to sheer cliffs to access a salt lick, even when a misstep means certain death. Also, salt cravings and drug addiction use the same neural pathways. As most mammals probably evolved during a salt scarcity, the ways they react to it are interesting. If you live to become the oldest person alive, the entire human population has been replaced in your lifetime. Except you. That sad didn't catch 95% of guns and other paraphernalia going through airports during a government-run experiment. But don't worry, they found and confiscated every last one of those highly dangerous water bottles. Pinworms come out of your butt at night and you can catch them on a strip of duct tape. Since 1948, about 90 commercial airliners have disappeared without leaving any evidence to what happened to them. In July 2017, scientists discovered a new strain of gonorrhea which is resistant to known antibiotic treatments. Always use protection, kids. The highest blood alcohol concentration ever recorded was a 1.6%, and he was behind the wheel of a van containing 5 children, a woman, and 15 stolen sheep. During the heights of the Cold War, when nuclear weapons were constantly crossing the globe on submarines and aircraft, accidents did occur, and warheads have been lost. Some have been recovered, but estimates say there could be as many as 50 nukes still out there in oceans too deep to retrieve or just missing. So have fun on that next family cruise. If you're in a restaurant in a port town, the question that health inspectors ask isn't do you have rodents, but how are you dealing with the rodents? If a restaurant claims they don't have rodents, that just means they aren't dealing with it. Don't eat there. 30 years ago the average home took up to 30 minutes to become fully involved in fire. Now it can be as little as 3 or 4 minutes due to the changes in construction materials and the massive amount of synthetic materials used in furniture, etc. Install smoke alarms and get out early, folks. That sound you hear on cartoons when planes, or anything, goes into a dive was taken from a Nazi dive bomber as a form of psychological warfare, and it is likely that particular recording was the last thing someone heard. Research due 87 Stuka trumpets. The fact that cheese is basically expired milk with salt. You have a choice between bacteria, for instance cheddar, parmesan, molds, and fungi, for instance brie, camembert, blue, or straight up acid, for instance feta, ricotta. Often digestive enzymes, rennet, are added before cultures. The traditional source of rennet is calf stomachs. One day, when you were a child getting cuddles and being carried about, your mum put you down and never picked you up again. Genghis Khan had killed so many people in his wake that the farmlands that they had used had returned to being a forest. He did this at such a scale that it actually significantly lowered a huge portion of carbon from the atmosphere. Legend says that Thanos was jealous of his conquest. He killed 5% of the world's population. But on the other hand, he did sleep with so many women and had so many children that around 1 in 200 people today is related to him. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. The farthest point on the planet you can be from civilization in any direction is a blip in the Pacific Ocean called Point Nemo. If you were stranded there, you'd be thousands of miles away from help, and it would be very unlikely you'd be seen or rescued as cargo ship routes don't go near it. To put the distance into perspective, the closest people to you would be the crew on the International Space Station. Dolly Parton lost a Dolly Parton look-alike contest to 6-foot overly exaggerated fake-breasted drag queen. And after the show the winner walked up to Dolly Parton and said her tits were too small. That is my favorite random mildly disturbing fact. Thanks to pregnancy, the average number of skeletons in a human body is greater than 1. Edit. Wow, guys, thanks for the bling. I've never gotten any before. In Toraja, Indonesia, the deceased can wait several months or even years for burial arrangements to be made and to allow distant relatives to pay their respects in person. During that time, family members will still treat their departed loved ones like valued members of the household. They dress them properly and even prepare daily meals. Some even keep their mummified remains indefinitely, considering it good luck. Sleep well tonight. Every minute, about 105 football fields worth of trees are lost. People who freeze to death are sometimes found naked because as they near dangerously low body heat they get the sensation they are burning hot. So hot that they desperately strip off all their clothing and, as you would guess, just hasten their incoming death due to hypothermia. In the early 1930s, Stalin intentionally starved the Ukrainian population by selling their harvest on the international market, killing approximately 3 million. Cruise ships have fully functioning morgues in them and are equipped with body bags in the event of death to anyone on board. There was a lady living in a Japanese man's house for over a year, living on the top shelf of his closet, till he found some food and money missing for a while. 50% of all food made/produced in the world ends up in the trash. We make enough food to feed the whole world very well, several times over. Restaurants throw out tons upon tons of uneaten food every year, and kids still go hungry in the US. The Zodiac Killer has never been caught and could be still alive as an old man in his 60s to 70s to 80s. People who died climbing Mount Everest are left out in the open and remain there. They more than likely will never come down. If someone stops climbing on Mount Everest, no one will try to carry them or stay with them for too long. Helicopters will not come to the rescue. Most of the bodies are well preserved and intact because of the climate. You can look up their names on Google and see who they once were and what they are now. They all look as if they are just resting. People use them as markers while making the climb. Elephants are pretty special and underrated animals. Fact 1. There was a national park that had a bunch of juvenile bull elephants for gangs that just went out and killed rhinos for fun. However, the park solved this by introducing older elephants into the area. Fact 2. Elephants, along with other animals, can get PTSD, and it can cause them to be very aggressive. Thank you for watching Internet's Funniest. Please like, share, and subscribe.